Hey everybody, this is Phil Tivell with PTWeather.com. I'm coming to you from my Scotch cabinet. If my winter weather video doesn't do well, I'm going to start doing Scotch videos instead. But for now, let's get to the good stuff with this winter storm that's coming. Today is Saturday, January 4th, 2025. We have what looks to be a pretty big winter storm coming up in our area in the mid-Atlantic in the next couple days. All the models are pointing to a big snow, but depending on which ones you look at, some areas may get more than others. Some places might get sleet. And so I'm going to kind of show you real quick what those models look like and how much I think we might get. To start off, I've got the jet stream up. And this is kind of a great looking jet stream for this situation because you can see the systems are going to follow the jet stream, and this one's going to dip down and then come back up the coast. A great scenario for a good winter storm. So this is for January 6th at 12 p.m. If I change this to the type of precipitation we're getting at the same time, I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see, look at that, there's our winter storm right there. Of course, this is the GFS model. It's low resolution. We're now in range of the first really high res model, the NAM 60 hour. It's 3 kilometer. We can go to that one and get a little bit of a better look at it. And we'll zoom in some. So here's our storm. Looking pretty good. You can see it's tapping the Atlantic down there. Zooming in, it's got a mix of sleet, freezing rain, snow. Over here, this blue dot, this is where I live in Northern Virginia. You can see a lot of the mid-Atlantic, though. It's going to be dealing with some wintry weather. So let's look at what some of these totals will look like. I'm going to start with the GFS model here, and we're going to look at the snow on the daily forecasts, and we're going to look between tomorrow and we'll go a little bit extra just to make sure we capture all the snow. We're going to highlight our area here, and this is what the GFS model thinks we're going to get. So pretty good. You can see the high end of the scale here is 10 inches, low end 0. And where I'm at here in Northern Virginia, over here is Washington, D.C., around 9 inches. Saying we're going to get up to upwards of almost a foot in D.C., 11, 12 inches. But you can see it's a pretty narrow neck of heavy accumulations, a little bit of shifting, and we're into the blue, which is only getting a couple inches. And so this is the GFS model, again, low resolution. Let's look at the high-res NAM model. As you can see from the high-res NAM model, we are going to see roughly the same thing that the GFS model says, saying around 8 inches around the Northern Virginia area I live, 9, 10 inches around D.C., a little more to the northeast and northwest, and a fast cutoff as you go south. These blues, only an inch or two, right? And that's not far from us. We get to Fredericksburg, and it's saying we're only going to get an inch and a half out of that. Richmond, nothing. This is very different than some of the other models play out, and I'll show you why. First, let me show you those other models. The European model just ran. I've got this up. I don't have it on PT Weather because the license for it costs like $100,000 a year. Someday I'll have it. Right now, we're going to look at Pivotal Weather. Much worse interface than PT Weather, but it's what I got to work with right now. This is the last European run at noon on today, January 4th. And you can see it's going gangbusters on most of Virginia here, saying that all those places that the high-res NAM model and the GFS model are saying going to get 1 or 2 inches to nothing, it's giving them almost a foot of snow. That's a big difference if you're living in like Charlottesville or Fredericksburg. So right now your forecast for there, depending on what model you go with, is anywhere between 0 inches and a foot. Good luck with that. If you're up where I'm at, in Northern Virginia, D.C. area, it's still not a bad forecast for you. It's still giving you 6 or 7 inches, which is just maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches lower than what the GFS and high-res NAM model was going for. So we're in a pretty sweet area in that area, according to all the models. If you look at the Canadian and British model, it's kind of following the same scenario. This one's kind of sad if you're in Northern Virginia, but it's saying the southern areas are going to get more snow. Very weird. Canadian, same deal. If you're to the south, you get more snow. Same with this other Canadian model here, the RDPS. Again, same scenario. So really, it's just the high-res NAM and the GFS that are saying, no, these areas aren't going to get snow. They're going to get rain or something else. It's going to be north that gets more snow. Why is the GFS and NAM saying that? I'm going to go back to PT weather, and I'm going to keep this same time frame here. And instead of snow, I'm going to change this to sleet. And increase the opacity a little bit. With the high-res NAM model, and the GFS will look similar to this, but we'll stick with the NAM. It's saying there's going to be a ton of sleet as we go to the south. It's going to be really cold outside. All these areas are going to be below freezing. But higher up in the atmosphere, there might be some temperatures above freezing, so that can melt the snow. And then as it continues to fall into colder temperatures, turns back to ice, so sleet. There's also some freezing rain in the forecast. I'll show that as well, according to the high-res NAM. So pretty significant icing. This is where the difference comes from in these two models. So basically, what's happening is the European and those other models are saying this is going to be an all-snow event, and then the GFS and the NAM, they're saying the high-res NAM, better than the normal NAM, 3-kilometer resolution. And one of the short, it's a short-range model, and it's pretty accurate. It's saying that all of this area down here is going to get a lot of ice, and so not much snow. If you're in the DC region, it still has us in the 8-inch range. So what's going to happen? I'm not entirely sure yet. In another day, we'll have more short-range models available to look at this. But I will say this, the European model, it's been pretty consistent with this thing. It caught this snowstorm almost 2 weeks ago, saying there's going to be something that happens, and it's kept it there for most of those runs. And the last, I'm not at the European model here, here's the European model. The last several runs, it's had the same solution. So here's the midnight run of last night. Same solution as the 12 o'clock run. Here's the 12 o'clock run from over a day ago. Almost the same again. And then here's the midnight solution from a day and a half ago. Again, it's taking that southern solution. So the European model, it's hard to argue against it. It's our best medium range model, and it seems to really like this solution of lots of snow in central Virginia. NAM and GFS don't like that solution. I don't know what I'm going to put my money on right now. But I live in the Northern Virginia area and the DC area. I feel pretty good about that area getting a good snow, at least 6 inches out of this. But again, a little bit of movement and how much ice falls. Someone's going to get a bust forecast here. Someone's going to think they're going to get a foot of snow because they're going to be looking at this, and they're going to get an inch and a bunch of ice. Someone up here might be thinking they're going to get a foot of snow, and instead they're going to get not as much precipitation. Speaking of the precipitation, let's take one last look at that. How much precipitation is this whole area getting? Quite a bit. So this is again the high-res NAM model. This is how much precipitation is going to fall. And so you think, it's going to be pretty cold. Typically you say every inch of rain is about 10 inches of snow. Might be a little more than that in this case because it's going to be a little bit colder, especially north of this. And so your ratios might be more like 12 to 1 instead of 10 to 1. But yeah, there's a lot of moisture with this. It's tapping the Atlantic. It's going to be a good winter storm no matter where you are in the mid-Atlantic area. You might not get a ton of snow necessarily, but you're going to get a lot of something probably. Okay, so anyhow, this is Phil Tibble with PT Weather. I hope you enjoyed my forecast. If anything changes, I will post up here on my Facebook page what's changing or what's going to stay the same. So follow me there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. Probably no school for the kids Monday or Tuesday for a lot of these areas. And then probably a lot of delays the rest of the week. OPM, I'm guessing they're going to be shut down Monday also. We'll see. All right.